help me reach 1,000 subscribers. It was supposed to be just another ordinary evening with the girls. An opportunity to unwind, sip wine, and share laughter over the usual chatter about life, relationships, and everything in between. The kind of night where worries are left at the door and smiles come easy. As the night progressed, our conversation took its familiar, playful turns, filled with teasing, gentle ribbing, and the occasional honest confession. At one point, someone asked what our ideal man would be like. Without thinking, I laughed and blurted out my answer. Honestly, if I had someone like Ethan from work, smart, fit, emotionally mature, I probably wouldn't feel the need to nag or complain all the time. Laughter erupted around the table. It was meant to be nothing more than a light-hearted joke, a fleeting moment of fun that would fade with the night. I didn't dwell on it. After all, playful complaints about partners were part of our routine banter. What I didn't realize, however, was that one of my friends had quietly recorded the moment, intending to post a casual story on Instagram. She didn't mean any harm. It was just a brief, fleeting clip. But my voice rang clearly in the background, and within the hour, James, my husband, had seen it. When I got home that evening, the atmosphere in the house had shifted. He sat on the couch in silence, his face unusually cold, his eyes distant. At first, I assumed it had been a hard day at work. I tried to make conversation to share a laugh, but he didn't respond. Instead, he held out his phone, and on the screen was the paused video, frozen at the moment my words slipped out. My heart sank. "It's just a joke," I hurriedly explained, trying to mask my panic with a nervous laugh. But he didn't smile. "Is that how you really see me?" he asked softly, and the question struck me like a physical blow. "Just someone you settled for?" I tried to explain, stumbling over words, assuring him it was meaningless, that my love for him had never wavered, that I would never consider anyone else. Yet my assurances seemed hollow, powerless against the weight of what he felt. He spoke of the years he had dedicated to me, the sacrifices made quietly, the steady commitment he believed we were building together. And now, in one careless, thoughtless moment, I had reduced all of that to a punchline. He didn't shout, didn't argue. He simply rose, went to the bedroom, and returned with a small suitcase. "I need space to think," he said, his voice calm, but there was a gravity to it that I could not ignore. I cried, begged him to stay, pleaded for forgiveness, but he left that night, walking out the door as if it had been an ordinary evening for him, though it shattered me completely. 3 days passed without a single word from him. When he finally reached out, it wasn't with the hope I clung to. We met at a cafe, and across the table he felt like a stranger. Slowly, he slid an envelope toward me. My hand shook as I realized it contained divorce papers. "Are you really ready to throw everything away over a careless comment?" I asked, my voice breaking. His calmness only made the moment heavier. "It wasn't just a comment," he said softly, with a pain that pierced deeper than anger. "It was the truth you couldn't face. Your heart didn't see me as first choice." I pleaded, suggested therapy, promised change, but the decision had been made. James had always been quiet, dependable, grounded, the kind of man who carried his love not in grand gestures, but in steady, unwavering commitment. I had failed to notice the silent endurance of years filled with subtle slights, comparisons, and tiny frustrations. That night's joke had been the last straw. The divorce itself hurt, but what cut deeper was how effortlessly he vanished from my life afterward. He unfollowed me on every platform, moved into a new apartment, and didn't even return for the rest of his belongings. His brother handled it all. Friends and family asked what went wrong. I tried to downplay it, calling it a misunderstanding, but deep down I knew the truth. Weeks later, I saw Ethan at work. Polite, friendly, asking about my well-being. He was completely unaware of the role he had inadvertently played in the unraveling of my life. I smiled, forced my voice into casual tones, but inside, I was sick with regret. I had used his name as a joke, a careless throwaway, and in doing so destroyed something irreplaceable. There had never been feelings, only empty words that carried consequences I hadn't imagined. Months passed, and from a distance I watched James rebuild. He seemed lighter, freer, genuinely happier, and it tore me apart to see that the man I had taken for granted was thriving without me. The cruel irony of it stung sharply. I had thought I deserved more, but in reality, he had been everything I truly needed. Finally, unable to contain the remorse, I wrote him an email. I poured my soul into it, admitting every small way I had chipped away at his trust and love, expressing regret for every careless word, thanking him for the devotion I had failed to appreciate. But he never replied. That silence, more than any words, confirmed that he had moved on, closing the chapter while I remained trapped, endlessly replaying the story of my own failure. I lost the best man I had ever known because I couldn't hold a fleeting joke in my mouth. Now, whenever someone casually jokes about their partner, my heart tightens. It has been a year since that night. I am still single, still healing, still trying to transform into someone worthy of the love I once had. I have learned the value of words, the weight of what we say about those we love. I have learned that humor and sarcasm can destroy what takes years to build. And above all, I have learned that sometimes, the greatest love comes and goes silently, leaving only the echo of regret in its wake.